Today we're talking about the stages of maturing on your spiritual journey. This is a sister video to this week's podcast, the Salty Seekers podcast. If you haven't seen that episode, I'll link to it in the description, or you can find it on the timeline just before this one. Hello, I'm Veronica, and welcome to the Wholeness Shift. If this is your first time here, welcome. I teach people about easy, practical spirituality, and I help you navigate your spiritual awakening. And so if these things interest you, please hit the subscribe button below. I wouldn't want you to miss out on anything good. Over the years, I've gotten many questions and comments and emails and whatnot from various people asking about the stages of your spiritual journey. Or things like, I've hit a plateau. What do you do when you feel like you've hit a plateau? Like, what am I doing wrong? So I thought today would be a good time to talk about that. Let's start at the beginning. Stage number 1 is what I like to refer to as the bliss phase. This is where everything is so much fun. Things are flowing. It's just like the start of any new relationship. You're in that honeymoon period. Everything is easy and fun and exciting. Starting on a spiritual journey is just like getting on a roller coaster ride. You have all of this thrill and this excitement. You aren't sure what's happening. You aren't sure what's around the corner, but you're here for the ride. Some people are terrified. They're like, what is happening to me? This is not fun. I don't like it. What is happening? And they feel out of control if it's something that happens spontaneously. But a lot of times, especially if you feel this pulling, you feel a draw to seek, you're seeking answers, and then things start opening up and things start flowing, it can be a lot of fun. That's why I like to refer to it as the bliss phase, because everything just feels blissful. You're having all of these exciting discoveries, and like every new thing is synchronized so that it leads to all of these other fun and cool experiences and rabbit holes, and you're just learning so much. Most importantly, though, this phase is usually where your eyes start to open to the reality that there is so much more out there than you ever could have realized. Yes, there is a higher power. Yes, you have a spirit guide, or many. Yes, you do have spiritual gifts. Things like this. This first phase is where you find yourself diving into every area of spirituality, if you will, with an open heart, with an insatiable appetite. You want to do all the things. You want to learn astrology and palmistry and tarot, and you want to see every psychic reader. You want to go to every medium, every channeler. You want to get all the readings and learn all the things. You've probably heard me say this many times, but I refer to this as being a bit spiritually manic. When you're in this first phase, you're a very immature, ungrounded, new little spiritual baby, if you will. And what I want everyone to know, the important thing to know, is that this is so normal. It is completely normal. There is zero judgment from me on this, because every one of us have been through it. That is a completely normal and natural phase of this process. And it is also so much fun. So enjoy it while it lasts, because it won't last. I mean, it's a good thing to always keep your curiosity. That's not what I'm saying, and a willingness to learn new things. But just as in every relationship, every job, everything, when you first move into a new house or you first get into a new relationship, it's fun, it's exciting, it's a breath of fresh air, it's full of discovery. But soon it settles into normal life, and it just becomes life. It's not that you aren't happy to be there. It's just the honeymoon period is over. So enjoy it while it lasts. This initial stage is full of excitement and discovery, and your passions are being discovered, and what are you interested in? It's full of growth. And your mind is expanding, your consciousness is beginning to expand, and you're learning rapidly. And in truth, this is a very vital stage of your journey, even when it feels a little chaotic, because it's laying the groundwork for the subsequent stages of your journey. During this phase, it's important to follow that curiosity. Follow the things that call to you. Explore them. Go down those rabbit holes. Follow that bliss. Now, the second phase, you're settling into normalcy. Like all passions, the fevered intensity of that initial phase begins to settle into normal life, as we talked about. That desire to constantly explore and seek new experiences begins to simmer down. It begins to level out, and spirituality now just becomes a part of your everyday normal life. And that looks different for every person. This is where the transition from external seeking to internal understanding begins to take place. It's about integrating spirituality into your everyday existence instead of chasing it externally as some kind of a novelty or entertainment, if you will. Instead of being out here, oh, I have a pendulum, I have tarot cards, there's a person who can do a reading for me, my spirit guides are out here. You begin to integrate it all, and you begin to take it on and go, oh, I have intuition I can use, I have gifts I can use. You're meditating, you're developing these things, you're realizing that this is a way of life for me, this is a means to an end for me to better myself as a human being and to open my heart and to have a daily life that I actually am excited to wake up to and I'm happy to live every day. Instead of just being like, ooh, that's fun. See what I'm saying? Now, some of those things are still fun. I still like to get a reading sometimes. I think that stuff is super fun. But it's a tool to help me learn more about myself so that I can better myself, so that I can be a better human, so that I can have a more quality-filled life, full of meaning, if that makes sense. You begin to take it on in this phase in a very personal, internalized way so that it affects your everyday life instead of just being a novelty, if you will. This is where you also begin to do some of the real work on your journey, such as shadow work. This is where you begin to identify and to try to purge any of that old programming and traumas and limiting beliefs and bad habits, bad behaviors that may hinder you from opening up and embracing this highest version of yourself that you're trying to develop. The next thing I want to talk about is embracing the quiet, embracing the stillness. As with any journey, there are times where you may find yourself in a little bit of a lull. Life is just lifing and you don't seem to be making any huge progress. Your spiritual journey might not feel as exciting and sparkly as it used to. I want you to know that this plateau is not a sign of stagnation. Now, with that being said, if you're not doing any of the things, you're just out there running amok, you're not meditating, you're not taking this journey seriously, then it may be stagnation. But if you're doing the things that you normally do, you're meditating every day, you're living with integrity, you're trying to do the shadow work, etc., then this plateau is not a sign of stagnation. It's a sign of integration. This is a period of time that Spirit gives you to help you integrate the things that you've learned, to help you have time to settle, to help you absorb all of the information that you've taken on in the previous months or years or whatever. You may have all of this new information you've learned and you've gathered and all of these downloads or all of these new frequencies from meditating all the time. Your vibes are raising. You need downtime to absorb those things and to integrate those things. Let me give you an example. So if there's been a dry spell outside and the ground is super dry and because it hasn't rained for a while, and then all of a sudden you get this massive downpour. You have a storm roll in and it just starts pouring. The likelihood of flooding is going to be huge because the ground is dry. It is taking on all of this water. All of a sudden, it's literally being flooded. It doesn't have the ability or the time to absorb all of that water, and it has to run off somewhere. Whereas if you have nice soft ground that is getting just a little bit of rain every single day, that rain gets absorbed right away because it's getting it in small amounts. It has time to absorb it. Then it gets a little bit more. It has time to absorb it. See what I'm saying? During this time, meditation becomes crucial. I mean, it's always crucial. It's always important, but especially during these periods of integration and slowness. Not only does it serve to maintain focus and inner peace, but it helps you to continue to expand your mind and your consciousness so that A, progress is still happening behind the scenes, and B, so that your neurologic system, your actual physical brain, has the capacity to absorb higher frequencies and downloads. Crucial. Keep meditating. The important thing during these times, the meditation, and just keep going. Keep going. You walk through the valley. You don't camp out and live in the valley. Just keep going. Do what you're supposed to do every day and keep going. Now let's talk about the dark night of the soul. There are going to be times where life throws some pretty significant challenges your way. The notorious dark night of the soul. Everyone is different. Everyone's looks different. Everyone's comes on for different reasons. No one knows when it's coming. All you know is that at some point it's going to be your turn. Buckle up, Buttercup, because it's coming. As with everything in life, in order to build something new, you have to tear down the old. Right? You can't buy a piece of property with an old, dilapidated, condemned house on it and want to build a new house until you tear out the old house. Let me say this in no uncertain terms. This phase is zero fun. There's no novelty. There is no fun. This phase comes with awful stuff. It comes with heartbreak and loss and sadness and anger and grief, and I'm crying just thinking about it, tapping into that energy. It can come with confusion and upheaval and heartbreak. It's no fun. And like I said, everybody's looks different. You might have one or all of those things. It looks different for everyone. And you don't always in life just go through one. Sometimes you repeat the cycle. This is a time where God or the divine or whatever you choose to call that creator force and your spiritual team seem very far away. You seem cut off from the light. You feel like you've been abandoned. You're like, why are these things happening to me? Where is the help? Where is the light? I feel so alone. I feel like my life is falling apart. You may feel purposeless. You may start to feel all of the bottled up anger and rage or other emotions that you've kept bottled up for years. It just feels like a really dark, difficult time. This may come on because of the loss of a loved one or a breakup, or like your finances just crash, or whatever the case may be. You just feel like you hit this emotional rock bottom where you don't see a whole lot of light and you feel very cut off from the divine. As challenging as this phase is, it is actually really important for your spiritual growth. This is the phase where you tear down all the old stuff because, like, what does any of it matter anyways? This is where you start to question everything. Like, what is the purpose of all this? What is it all for anyways? Why the F am I doing what I'm doing? You start looking at every area of your life, trying to figure out how you can make this better. You start questioning, was everything I ever taught a lie? Was everything I've ever believed a lie? Was any of it true? What's the point of even being here? And you might start spending a lot more time alone and examining all areas of all those things. You might start realizing that a lot of people in your life don't resonate with you anymore. Like maybe you see your partner in a whole new light and are like, they don't even appreciate me. Or my family is so toxic. Or all my friends ever do is complain and I give and give and give to them and nobody gives back to me. Like you start seeing them for their truth instead of your idealized version of them, and you may walk away from all of it. I'm not saying this is for everybody. Like I keep saying, everybody's is different, but these are the things you might experience. Maybe all the people in your life complain a lot. Maybe they are just Debbie Downers, they're pessimistic, and they do nothing but drain your energy. This is where you start to deconstruct that old version of you and your life. Your beliefs, your worldviews, your patterns, your habits, what your life looks like on a daily basis, where you live, all of these things can be effective. And this is when you start seeking the path that leads you back to the light. You start rebuilding your life in a way that feels most authentic to you at this point, and where you start reconnecting to source, if you will. You start living in a way that feels fulfilling. You start doing things that serve your best interest. You start choosing people to be in your life that light you up and that give back to you and that are nourishing relationships. Your eyes may start to open and you start to see clearly how your choices and your behaviors over the years have helped to cause your own suffering. And then you start to begin to release everything that is unnecessary from your life and that is unhealed from your life. And you start trying to make more aligned, authentic, loving, and beneficial choices for yourself. Unfortunately, for many of us, in order to get to that place where we're ready to make these significant changes and really examine our lives in that way, we have to go through some pretty tough stuff, or else we're not willing to change. We have to have the whole brick wall come down on our head. You may lose a job, you may lose a relationship, you may hit rock bottom with substance abuse. Not everyone goes through these things, but that's often the way. In order to navigate this dark night of the soul, as with everything else, just keep going. There is no better advice than that. Ride the wave, girl. Ride the wave. No one can do it for you. You have to do this yourself, and the only way through it is through it. This phase needs to be filled with shadow work, meditation, a lot of honest introspection about yourself, your life, and those in your life. It also needs to be filled with a whole lot of grace for yourself. This is not a place where you just get to shame talk yourself, negative self-talk, where you get to beat yourself up. That is not appropriate for this phase or any other phase. This is a time for an honest look at yourself, an honest look at your bad behaviors, even if they're not bad behaviors that aren't serving you for your greatest good. And it's a time to take accountability. This is the phase where you have to own your own shit. This is the phase where you confront your deepest fears, your old traumas. It's a period of purging and releasing everything that's been holding you back. It allows for profound transformation to occur. And if you don't want to keep going through these dark nights, then do the work to heal the stuff, and then there won't be stuff to heal anymore. Do you see what I'm saying? My grandma always used to say, if you're not going to make time to do it the right way now, when are you going to make time? Because if you don't do it right now, you're going to have to redo it at some point. So do it right the first time. And that applies here too. Through all of the cycles of bliss and challenge, the spiritual journey is really never ending. Each stage prepares you for the next, and each transition offers a deeper understanding of both yourself and the universe. And growth isn't always linear. Oftentimes you will revisit earlier stages. You may face the same challenge, but with a different perspective now, different maturity, different wisdom, different knowledge. Or, the universe can just have you revisit it to see if you're still a dumbass. I love that meme. Sometimes the universe makes you revisit things just to see if you're still a dumbass. Unfortunately, that's true. And oftentimes we still are. But if you are taking accountability for your stuff and you're recognizing your patterns, you have the power to stop and to change. You have the power. I have the power. We all have the power within us to do that. It's so important to remain patient and compassionate with yourself during this process. The first step is always to be able to recognize and call yourself out when you are doing the same old things in the same old unhealthy way. To be able to identify is huge. You could be like, oh, I see myself doing that again, or I see myself reacting the same old way again. We weren't going to do that. Let's try again. Stay gracious and compassionate towards yourself. No negative self-talk, because that does not benefit anybody at any time. Constructive criticism, loving support for yourself. No shame, no bashing, no negative self-talk. The second thing is that whenever you see yourself doing that thing, whatever that thing is, you need to stop and go a different direction. Whenever I'm adding to cart because I'm bored or because I'm stuffing down emotions that I'm not wanting to look at, so I'm just looking for some way to feel better, and this is all usually unconscious, subconscious, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm having a rough day, or I'm not feeling it, or whatever. I'm just like browsing Amazon, I'm browsing whatever, and I'm like, ooh, that looks nice, add to cart. And then I'm like, no. Okay, yes, that is a nice thing. We do want that, but no, we don't need to spend our money on that, or this is a no-spend year that's not in alignment with our goals right now. Save it for later, or add it to a wish list. Stop. Go a different direction. If you see yourself reacting poorly because you haven't been taking care of yourself, you haven't been meditating, you haven't been giving yourself some downtime, you're feeling short-tempered, and somebody says something and you snap at them. You recognize it, you stop, you go a different direction. Call yourself out on it and say, look, I'm sorry. I know that I just snapped at you. That's not the way I want to respond to you. Please accept my apology. Just know that it's not about you. I'm just feeling really short-tempered. I'm feeling a little stressed and a little reactive right now. This isn't about you, and I'm really sorry that I spoke to you that way. I just need a little time. And then go process and go a different direction. Boy, I'm tapped into some energy. Every example I'm given today, I'm wanting to cry. I'm like, as if I really did it. As if I'm cranky and snapping at people. I'm not. But just thinking about it, I'm like, oh my goodness. But stopping, recognizing it, stopping it, and then going a different direction, this is how you change your life. Whatever the situation is, whatever the problem is, that is how you change your life. You observe yourself doing the same old unhealthy thing. You stop. You call yourself out on it. Pivot. Go a different direction. It's how you change your life. Your spiritual path is a lifelong journey of learning and integrating and embracing solitude and seeking connection and ultimately finding peace in the ebb and flow of life. Please remember that it's about creating a life that aligns with your soul's purpose, not about chasing the highs and avoiding the lows. Trust the process, stay the course, and know that as long as you are doing the things that you know benefit you in a healthy way and benefit your journey, then you are always precisely where you are supposed to be. There's no messing it up. If you're doing the things that you know benefit you, there's no messing it up. You're always where you're supposed to be. Stay the course. Please leave a comment and share your experiences, share your thoughts, share your questions. As we journey together, we grow together. And every single comment adds to the collective wisdom of this spiritual community. And let's learn from one another. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button and the like buttons. This helps get this information out to people who have not discovered it yet, and that is important because people out there need to know how to navigate their spiritual journey. So let's help them find it. And if you want a longer, more casual chat about this topic, go listen to the podcast. I'll link it below. All right, you guys, until next time.